Super glad you're here. So, Apple just dropped the 11th generation iPad in March 2025, and as always, the tech world keeps moving fast. Which brings us to the big question. How does this new entry-level iPad actually hold up after 3 months? More importantly, who is it really for? And is it worth spending your money on in today's market? I've been testing it out for a little while now, using it the way most people would, for everyday stuff, content consumption, light productivity, and just seeing where it fits into Apple's iPad lineup. In this video, I want to break down everything you need to know. What's new? What's missing? Who will get the most value out of it? And does it make sense to buy it in 2025 when there are so many other tablets and even older iPads floating around? All right, let's kick things off with the design. And honestly, it looks almost identical to the 10th generation iPad. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're still getting that familiar, clean aluminum build that feels solid and sturdy in the hand. The front is all glass, and the overall footprint and weight haven't really changed. If you've got accessories from the 10th gen iPad, like a case or keyboard, good news, they'll still fit. Apple's keeping things colorful again this year, offering the iPad in silver, blue, pink, and yellow. Personally, I appreciate the consistency. It helps users stay in that Apple ecosystem without having to replace everything they already own. For unlocking the device, it's still Touch ID built into the top power button. It's fast and reliable, but yeah, it feels a bit less premium compared to Face ID on the iPhones and iPad Pros. Still, for an entry-level iPad, it makes sense, keeping the cost down without sacrificing essential functionality. Audio-wise, you're getting stereo speakers in a landscape orientation. They're decent, good enough for YouTube, Netflix, or casual listening. There are dual microphones as well, which come in handy for FaceTime calls or voice recording. One thing that's gone for good, though, the headphone jack. Not a surprise from Apple, but still worth mentioning. For connectivity, you've got a USB-C port, which is great, but it only supports USB 2.0 speeds. That means data transfers, especially large video files, are going to be slower compared to higher-end iPads. And if you're going for the cellular model, no physical SIM tray. Now let's talk screen. Technically, it's a 10.9-inch Liquid Retina IPS LCD display with a resolution of 2360 by 1640. Text, images, and video all look crisp, and it's great for general media consumption and web browsing. It gets up to 500 nits of brightness, solid indoors, but it may struggle a bit in direct sunlight. One downside? It's not a laminated display. That means there's a slight air gap between the glass and the screen itself, which can create a subtle, hollow feeling when tapping or writing with the Apple Pencil. It's not a deal breaker, but the laminated display on the iPad Air does feel more premium and responsive. The color gamut covers the sRGB space, so it's fine for casual content viewing, but not ideal for high-end color work. However, it does have True Tone, which adjusts the color temperature based on your environment. And that's a great addition for eye comfort during extended use. Under the hood, the 11th generation iPad packs the A16 Bionic chip, which is a solid upgrade from the A14 found in the previous model. Apple claims it's faster, and it shows. The chip features a 5-core CPU, a 4-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine, giving it plenty of power for everyday use. Plus, the RAM has been bumped up to 6 GB from 4 GB, which definitely helps with smoother multitasking and overall performance. In practical terms, this means app switching is quick, editing 4K videos feels more responsive, and using features like live text runs without hiccups. However, there's a notable limitation. The iPad doesn't support Apple Intelligence, the company's new AI system, due to chip and RAM constraints. Some people feel this makes the device seem a bit behind the curve, especially as future iPadOS updates may lean heavily on AI capabilities. For general daily tasks, the A16 chip performs very well. That said, if you're pushing the iPad with heavy multitasking or graphically demanding games, you might notice it isn't as smooth or powerful as the higher-end iPads. Overall, it's a strong performer for the price, but it does have its limits. Apple claims the battery lasts all day, up to 10 hours of web browsing or video playback over Wi-Fi. In real-world testing, it streamed video at max brightness for about 6 hours and 43 minutes, so not quite hitting the full 10 hours but still decent for a tablet. It comes with a USB-C cable and a 20-watt power adapter, taking just under 2 hours to fully charge. Some people worry about how the battery will hold up long-term, but Apple generally does a good job with software updates that don't overly impact battery health. Of course, like all devices, the battery will naturally degrade over time, but overall, the battery life should be solid enough for most users' daily needs. Camera-wise, the iPad features a 12-megapixel wide camera on the back and a 12-megapixel center stage camera on the front. The front camera is positioned in landscape orientation, which is perfect for video calls, especially when using a keyboard case. Both cameras support Smart HDR4, enhancing dynamic range for better photo quality. For video recording, the rear camera can shoot in 4K resolution, while the front camera records at 1080p. Overall, the cameras are solid for everyday use, video calls, and casual photography, fitting well with the iPad's focus on productivity and media consumption. Software-wise, iPadOS 26 is here. And honestly, this might be the update that finally lets some people ditch their laptops. At WWDC, Apple introduced a bunch of game-changing features that push the iPad even closer to a true desktop experience. It's not just a bigger iPhone anymore. It's starting to feel like a real productivity machine. The biggest headline? A completely revamped multitasking system. You can now freely resize and tile windows, much like what you do on a Mac. It's way more intuitive and powerful, especially for people who need to juggle multiple apps at once. No more clunky app switching. This feels seamless. The Files app got a serious glow-up too. You can finally customize folders, view files in a detailed list layout, and even assign default apps to open specific file types. That's a big win for anyone using their iPad for work or school. Apple also introduced a new Preview app, and it's pretty handy. You can make basic image edits, annotate PDFs, and convert file formats right on the iPad. It's something that Mac users have had forever, and now it's finally made its way to iPadOS. They didn't stop there. There's now a macOS-style menu bar and more apps, new audio recording tools for podcasters, and even background task processing, so things like exports and downloads can keep going even when you switch apps. And yes, the whole OS got a visual refresh with Apple's new liquid glass design language. It looks slick, modern, and super polished. So who exactly is the 2025 iPad for? Starting at $349, it's the most affordable iPad Apple currently offers. One of the biggest improvements this year is the base storage bump. Now 128 gigabytes instead of 64 gigabytes, doubling what you got last time but for the same price. That's a huge win and really boosts the overall value. From what I've seen in reviews and heard from users, this iPad is an excellent choice for students, casual users, or anyone who just needs a reliable tablet for everyday stuff like browsing, checking email, scrolling through social media, and watching videos. It offers a nice middle ground. Bigger screen than a phone, but much more portable than a laptop. There are some trade-offs, though. The lack of Apple Intelligence, their AI features, is a notable drawback, especially as AI becomes more common in tech. Also, it doesn't support the Apple Pencil Pro, which might be a deal-breaker if you need advanced drawing or note-taking tools. But if you're looking for a solid, dependable tablet that will get software updates for years to come without breaking the bank, the 11th generation iPad is a compelling pick. The faster A16 chip and the increased storage really help deliver a smoother everyday experience. This iPad is perfect for students needing a solid note-taking device, families wanting a versatile entertainment tablet, or anyone who prefers a larger screen for browsing without lugging around a laptop. The extra storage alone makes it much more practical for most users. If you're a tech enthusiast or creative professional looking for top-tier performance and features, you'll want to check out the iPad Air or the iPad Pro. But those come at a higher price. Overall, the 2025 iPad is a strong contender in the budget tablet market. It's familiar, easy to use, and backed by Apple's ecosystem and long-term software support. For a lot of people, a straightforward and reliable tablet is all they really need, and this model totally delivers on that. Alright, that's my honest take on the new iPad. Hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.